So hello fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And isn't it fantastic to be an adult? I don't know why when you're a kid people say stuff like don't be in a hurry to be an adult, It's a lot of problems, it's a lot of responsibilities, and enjoy yourself as a kid. No. Yeah, well, okay, fine. There's some great things that you can enjoy as a kid, being carefree and stuff. But you know what being a kid is like? Being a kid is like being a colony. All right? You have no real influence. When somebody says, yo, it's time to sleep, it's time to sleep. Okay? I mean, depending on the parents you have. If you have parents who don't care about you and maybe they didn't really want you, then you can probably stay out all night and, whatever, you're like an adult. But you're probably going to not have a very good education, and you probably have a not so great job, and you're never really gonna, I guess, get to that border where you say, oh my god, being an adult is great. Well, I had a colonial power. I wasn't the boss. My mother was in charge. And so being an adult is fantastic. It's one of these things where you can do whatever it is that you want to do. You can go see that movie if you want to. You can eat whatever crazy crap it is that you want to. You can get up in the middle of the night and go to the store, or go to Walmart, or go whatever. You can eat an ice cream for breakfast. You can do anything that you want. And I'm sorry if anybody thinks that being a kid was so great. I can do all of those kid things if I want to. I don't have to have a job. It is probably beneficial to have a source of income, definitely. But I can go do a bunch of kid stuff. Yeah, probably. I'm not gonna have like my friends, other kids to hang around with. Other people probably don't want to be as crazy as I might want to be as an adult. But all that said, it is fantastic to be an adult. I mean, you can buy, an entire rotisserie chicken and eat that junk alone. And it's so cheap, isn't it? You just, people telling you, no, don't do that, don't do this, don't do the other, you can't do that, we have to go now. Nothing, none of that. There's no have to go now. You pull out your money, it's your money, it's your room, it's your house if you live by yourself, and you can do that. Oh my God, honestly, if you ever feel depressed, if you ever feel like, oh my God, life is so horrible, how much more horrible would it be if you had somebody else telling you what you could and couldn't do? And now that I think about it, there was something else. I guess this can be a be grateful episode kind of thing, where I remember that when I had the cold a long time ago, I told myself, I said, listen, with this sniffling and sneezing and coughing and sore throat and runny nose and all of this, when you get better, remember, however it is that you feel at that time, at least you don't have a cold. Because you can still have all the responsibility and things that you have to do and whatever stress that you have, and then still have a cold on top of that, And you might say to yourself, well, why do I have to, be grateful for that? You know why? Because another cold is coming. Somewhere in the future, unless you're some fantastic human being who's never going to get sick again until the day that you just drop dead, boom, no warning. Or maybe you might be warned, I don't know. To me, isn't that a gift? To be warned? like to know in advance that, hey, you might get run over, but if you don't, you're probably gonna die within the next couple of months. So you avoid the buses and you look both sides and stuff, but then you still know that, okay, I'm still gonna die. I remember there was this guy who he is gonna die. His videos are up there on YouTube or wherever else that they are now. And he was saying, well, yes, he has, stage 4 cancer, whatever. He was healthy and everything. Well, healthy looking. I don't know if it was brain cancer he had. But he was like, look, I can do push-ups. And he went down on the floor, did a bunch of push-ups. He did not look sick at all. But he was going to die. And he died. And he's dead. And he was going on all of these lectures to be that person that we can see who died, who knew they were going to die. It wasn't some sort of, it wasn't some sort of Lifetime movie special or something like that, This was a real person in a real situation, and it wasn't based on a true story. Here it is. You can go Google it and see. And I think there have been a couple of people who are like that, who have been, they knew that they were going to die, and they went up on YouTube or not YouTube specifically. I mean, their videos might be on YouTube, but yeah. And it's nice. I'm glad they did it. One of the things that I'm glad with the way that the world has changed is that people know that they're not alone as much anymore in the things that they have to go through, because there are people who are willing to come out and say, hey, this is me, I'm just like you, you're not alone, and I guess even that's what the Me Too movement is about. It's about, hey, it's not just you, it is me too. And in that way, the Me Too movement is more than about being a survivor or someone who's experienced unwanted sexual advances. And maybe can we change how that's called? Unwanted sexual advances. You can say that, I don't want to diminish it, but unwanted sexual advances or unwanted unsolicited overtures. Isn't that what advertising is? So it's like you went through aggressive or painful sexual advertising is what you could call it. But yeah, I don't know. A friend of mine, he'd recently sent me and part of this too is I remember, I think Trevor Noah was talking about how in one instance a girl was saying that her husband, when he was courting her, he did a bunch of things, he left stuff on her desk and so on, and then she caught herself and she was like, if I didn't really like him, I guess that would have been creepy. And Trevor Noah's like, it was in the context of sexual stuff in the workplace, and he was like, that can't happen again while I'm here, because just because you happen to like it and like him, I don't know that. Nobody knows that. There's no way to predict that. So that shouldn't happen. And isn't that weird, huh? Because that's the borderline. You could be doing something that somebody doesn't like, and until you appreciate that they don't like you, and it's clear in your mind, you could be doing stuff that could get you in a lot of trouble. But if everybody stops doing that, what do we have? Tinder? OkCupid? That's how we're supposed to live life now, because nobody's supposed to approach anybody else because that person might not like it. So then we'll just go extinct. I think we do a bad job of lots of stuff, and I think this is one of the things that we do a bad job of. And I think that this might be another existential threat to humanity. The fact that you don't know if something is unwanted unless you try it. But by the time you try it, and then you establish that it's unwanted, then you're in trouble. And there's no going back. It's just, is this person going to report me or not? That's what it comes down to. Anyway, if we circle back to the beginning, it is still fantastic to be an adult. One of the great things about being an adult is having intimacy. Kissing is awesome. Of course, you don't have to be an adult to do that, but society kind of wants us to go ahead and do that, to not do too much really when we're young, and have babies when we're young, even though by pushing it so far when we're older, and people end up not having kids at all, or not even having relationships at all, like in Japan. So more existential threats as we change how things have been going for thousands of years. But you know what? It's never really going to be that bad. I sent an email to a guy this evening, and never mind what it was about, but in the email I reminded him, if he didn't know, and maybe I gave him some knowledge if he did, whatever. The point is that 70,000 years ago we had a huge bottleneck, and we had bottlenecks again throughout the history of humanity, and it's only written in our genes to say that this bottleneck happened. And at that point there were only about several thousand human beings on the planet, and here we are at 8 billion. So I say it a lot, and maybe other people will say existential threat. We have almost 8 billion people on this planet. 8 billion. That's like 8,000 million, right? That's like a lot of people, So yeah, I think that we can stand to lose a lot of people, right? Things can get really bad before we can say, oh my God, human beings are going to be extinct. We have a lot of ways to go, and we still have a lot of oil, which is not really a good thing, but oil has been good to us, and it's not going to be so great for our grandchildren, but there might be a huge reduction in how many of us they are, and they might be able to continue using CO2 fossil fuels for a long time. You never know. If all of us decide that we're not going to reproduce, well, not all, but if a lot of us decide that we're not going to reproduce, there'll be a lot more space for whoever's coming, so to do whatever it is that they want to do. Anyway, wish me lucks. You can like or unlike. You can comment and say why. You can subscribe and or share. Peace.